Right, hello guys, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, as you can see in the background, you're going to be seeing a Warzone gameplay, and not only is it a Warzone gameplay, this is actually my first solo win here in Warzone. So enjoy that in the background. It's an 11 kill win. I do use mostly the Graw, I believe. I had a Graw class up for this, and I'm not showing that class up because I don't actually use that class up anymore for Warzone. But I did win this game, so I thought I'd show this in the background as I also discuss solos in Warzone and just why I think it's just not fun here in Warzone, or just an opinion that I have that I think many people share as well. I've seen it all over Twitter, all over Reddit, I've seen it in a few places that people just don't enjoy solos here in Warzone, and it's mostly people like playing in trios, people like playing in quads, people just like playing with other people. And I'm going to share my experience on that, as well as giving like reasons as to probably why that is. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about like I'm gonna discuss kind of my feelings and how I feel about solos in Warzone and the difference between playing solo and playing in a trio and a squad, and also like playing with randoms and not playing with randoms, because there's a difference there as well. So let me get into it. Playing solos in this game, from my personal experience, is just very slow, and there's one of the things as well. You just feel like you're constantly third-partied. That's one experience I've had a lot in solos, and it just feels like you can't do anything. The moment you try to shoot someone and someone else starts looking at you, that's it. Like, that's the end for you. You know, you're going to get sniped from somewhere, and with the snipers having next to no bullet drop as well, it makes it quite easy to be just sniped in the head and that's it. You know, you're in the gulag and you've got to do something about it. So yeah, I'm checking my ping and everything, because the ping's been a little bit questionable in the game, though that was probably more out of rage than anything, I'll be honest. But yeah, I do win this gulag, obviously. But yeah. So, yes, there are the things like such as the gulag where you can come back. So you probably think, okay, well, it doesn't matter if you don't, you know, you come back. But there have also been other things. And by the way, this gameplay was, when I got this solo gameplay, this was when the self-revive bug was happening. So you couldn't actually self-revive sometimes. Sometimes you would purchase the self-revive and it just wouldn't let you. So that did make the solo experience very frustrating. And I'll be honest, since this gameplay, I basically don't play solos anymore. And again, I'm going to go through that right now, like the reasons why. And I think for me personally, the reason why I don't enjoy the solo experience is because I've played trios and squad and quads and that with people that I know, and the difference between having someone there to communicate with and just overall just play and enjoy the game is one thing as well, because playing on your own, it's just not a fun experience. It's something I've had in general in Modern Warfare, but I'm going to keep it to just talking about Warzone and not multiplayer, but mostly Warzone. When you're playing Warzone on your own, it just feels so stressful. You feel like you have to listen to sounds, you have to have your headset cranked up, you have to take every gunfight like as if it was your last gunfight, especially with the skill-based matchmaking in this game. So you're matching people, that's another thing as well. Obviously we're playing solo, it's based off of only your skill. There's no average skill of the lobby of your squad. It's just pure skill-based matchmaking. So if you're a 2KD player, expect to face people around the 2KD mark. That's basically how it is. So for me, as a player around the 2KD mark, that's what I'm facing here, you know. People of my skill, you know, same score per minute or whatever. And it makes everything stressful. It makes every gunfight seem like it was the last gunfight of the game. Like you're in the 1v1 to win the game. And that's probably another reason why I just don't enjoy it, because nobody wants to play like that 24/7. The idea of Battle Royale in my mind, and I don't know if you guys share the same thing, again, after you've done watching this video, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know, like, you know, your thoughts and opinions on this video, as well as like whether or not you agree with me in certain points, and feel free to say whether you disagree or not. But I feel like a Battle Royale should be a always progressive amount of skill. And what I mean by that is, you start the game and obviously there's 149 other people and yourself. And what should happen is you get the easy gunfights, right? And I'm not saying every gunfight should be easy, but most of the time you should end up taking out the players who aren't so good. You know, the ones who try to hot drop on you, or, you know, you're going to a hot drop and that bad player's going to a hot drop. And as the game gets progressively further and further into the game, you start facing the harder players, you know, the players who know how to stay alive longer, who know what class setups to be using, know what perks they should be running. That's how I feel a Battle Royale should be going. And no, I'm not going to make this into a rant about skill-based matchmaking. I've already done this once, so I'm not going to do it again. But the skill-based matchmaking definitely plays a part as to why the solo experience just isn't that fun. And that's just one thing that I find is, like, every gunfight feels like the last one. And it shouldn't feel like that. Yes, okay, that may make the game more intense, and you're going to see here, like, I get super lucky here, by the way. I don't know when this exactly happens. Again, this gameplay was about a week ago now, but I get super lucky with a gunfight at one point. I'm pretty sure it's around this area, but you'll see in a second. But basically, I feel like compared to squads, there's just more of a chance as well. That's one thing I'll say as well. There just feels like there's more of a chance. And obviously that's because your teammates can buy you back. You can buy self-revive and it actually works at that time. I believe now the self-revive has been fixed for solo, but at the time self-revive did not work, so that made solo more stressful than it already was. But playing in a squad as well. Now, most of you probably do have that friend who just isn't that good at the game, and you might be that friend who is really good at the game. Now, I'm not saying it's something like where I benefit, on purpose from the fact that my friends might not be as good as me at the game. But having players who are worse than you in the game, I believe, and now it's not been proven, but I believe it probably does affect, what you matchmake and who you match. Because I couldn't imagine in Warzone, at least I don't think it does. I don't think it would take the personal skill of the player with the highest, elo or whatnot. Now, as you can see, I got super lucky there. I have no idea how I killed him. But that's what I was on about. As you can see, it's just super sweaty. I didn't even hear that guy. This was before the sound update as well. So, again, when I was playing solos, there was next to no chance of hearing people, so you could imagine how stressful this game must have been to win. Again, it was only an 11 kill win as well, so it wasn't anything amazing by any means. But yeah, so when I play with a squad, I do have players who are quote unquote worse than me. They're not terrible players, but they are just worse than me, okay? And I believe that, has an impact on the matchmaking. It possibly can make the lobbies easier. And I do feel like that. I feel like I get a lot more easier people to kill. It feels easier than when I play on my own. It feels like when I play on my own that everyone's running, everyone's got a loadout within the first circle. Everyone's got their M4, everyone's got the sniper. But when I play with my friends and that, I see some wacky setups. I see people running shotguns as their secondaries, and not really good ones either. I don't know how to put it. And I've seen LMGs that aren't that great. I'm trying to think of what the LMG is called. The one that could be called can be a G36C. I cannot remember what that one's called for the life of me. But I've seen people run that when playing with my friends. And basically, you just notice the setups that aren't that great. And I could definitely tell you that squads is easier than solos. If you've got a decent squad, that is. Because I've won a lot more squads than solos. And I'd say I've played just about more squads than solos at the moment. Because I did play a lot of solos at the start. But then I soon realised how much this game, is just better to play with a squad. So in squads, I believe I've got 6 wins, and then solos, I literally only have 1 win. And since that 1 win, I basically stopped playing. Now, as you can see, that guy wasn't that great. Maybe he, challenged me wrong. I don't know. You do still, get people who aren't that great. But most of the time, it feels like 8 out of 10 of your gunfights are going to be against a player who is as good as you or better than you. It never feels like they're worse than you. And I just don't enjoy that. I think that's just something within gaming in general. I think people, like myself, like to just enjoy, I don't know, beating people, And when you can't just beat people because you feel like it, because again, everyone you're facing is as good as you, or if not better than you, it just doesn't make it that enjoyable. And again, like I said, I feel like the game should progress. The game should go from the start, you kill the easy people and whatnot. And then as the game gets further and further in, you face the better players. Now, that doesn't mean, always the last person you're going to face in the game is the best player who was in the lobby. Because obviously, some really great players make mistakes. And also, on top of that, there are some players who are really bad, but, somehow find a way to just hide, long enough to be able to get into the last circle and play for that 1 kill win, That does happen. We've seen that through Fortnite, through Apex, through Blackout. I saw it myself through Blackout, I felt Blackout played quite well in that regard. It was progressive, and obviously there was no skill-based matchmaking, but it was progressive. It felt like early game you'd kill the good, the half-decent players, the not-so-good players, and then towards the middle and the end of the game, you start facing the players who are quite good. You start taking out those players who should be at the end circle or are in the end circle, and that just doesn't happen in solos. And the difference with them playing squads is, personally for myself, I have quite a decent squad, okay? Like I said, they are slightly worse than me, but they are a good squad. Okay, and being able to communicate with people, as well as just the fun aspect, if something goofy happens, you're not on your own to see it, you're playing with people, and you could kind of just watch something crazy happen. You can go and do something stupid, or possibly, you know, win the game with like a lot of kills, because you've got people you're communicating with, and you can also find out other people's positions. You've got a chance of being saved by your team. They can, you know, help you push things, stuff like that. And I feel like just the game mode in general, with certain things, just plays into the hands of squads more than solos. And it feels like it was built more for squads than it was solos. Simply because of, obviously, you have the buyback aspect. And that aspect is only possible through squads. You know, you can't buy yourself back in solos. You can just revive yourself now, but that's about it. That is all you can do. And obviously you can win your gulag, but you can also do that in squads. But basically, the other problem you have is the first circle. Now, the problem you have with the first circle is, basically, there is 4 minutes, I believe, in the first circle. And with the first circle being 4 minutes long, from landing as well, and then it goes. So basically, the first circle, before it actually moves on to the second circle, is, I believe, 8 minutes. That is just too long. Way too long. And especially in the early game of solos, because basically, a lot of people just land on top of each other to try and get that guaranteed kill. So, you know, hey, I've got a kill, and now I can go and play the game. And just have that, you know, that satisfaction of getting a kill. Because obviously at the start of the game, everyone's got a pistol. And maybe you could land somewhere and get a gun quick enough to kill the person behind you or in front of you or whatnot. But basically everyone's going for that free kill, you know. The pistol v pistol, they take that challenge because it's a dead even gunfight, you know. You have a good chance of possibly winning that gunfight. But, whereas if you play squads, you know, it feels like everyone just loots up together. Like, how do I put it? Personally in my squad, you know, you might have a squad land on you, but you then get the kills, and then, you know, you try and move on in that. But in solos, it feels like you kill the first onrush of people, and then you just don't find anyone for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Like, it feels like forever to try and find someone. I feel like that's one of the big problems that is also playing into solos, being quite slow, quite campy, quite boring. As well as, like, other things with the aspect of the game. So that's one thing I believe is impacting solos, which is the first circle takes way too long. I still think it takes way too long even for squads, but I feel like it massively impacts solos more than it does squads. Now, on top of that, I feel like there's another thing that is kind of affecting solos more than it does squads, which is kind of the meta of the game. And the meta of the game at the moment is to run the perk Ghost with Cold-Blooded. Now, Cold-Blooded I'm not too bothered about, I get it, you know, you got to stop the thermal snipers, which is also another thing that is quite bad for solos, is people are being able to camp at quite far distances and on top of buildings with thermal snipers. And if you don't run Cold-Blooded, you stick out like a sore thumb. Like, they're going to shoot you from miles away. Now, it's up to them, you know, how good their skill is and whether or not they'll be able to hit you or not. But basically, they're going to find you and see you through just looking through the thermal scope and just looking through the bushes, the trees, the grass, whatever, and they'll find you if you're not running Cold-Blooded. And the meta at the moment as well is obviously Ghost, with some people like to run Restart instead of Ghost, but most of the time you'll find that most people are running Ghost because of one equipment and one equipment only, which is the heartbeat sensor. Now, I'm going to be honest, I use the heartbeat sensor myself because a lot of times people haven't got Ghost yet, you know, in squads, or you get to that point in the game where some teams are coming back and they haven't been able to get their loadout or get their loadout back. They may have had their loadout, or they may not have had their loadout at all. But basically, Ghost and this heartbeat sensor meta makes it really difficult to just travel anywhere and move about in solos without someone just sitting in a room with the heartbeat sensor and knowing where you are. Now, obviously, again, at the time of this recording, or when I got this gameplay, when I was playing solos, footsteps were not a thing. So right now, footsteps are a thing, and that does make it a little bit better. But what that does mean is, as well, those people who are sitting in corners, sitting on top of buildings and that, you know, they're getting rewarded more because they can now hear you quite easily. Now, yes, you can crouch walk around, but again, that plays into the hands of solos being super slow, which is you have to crouch walk all the way to that person just to make sure they don't hear you. And even then, they can still randomly hear you if you go on surfaces such as stairs, you know, try and climb a ladder. There's not much you can do, really, in some instances. And there are some buildings on these maps that have one-way access points, like the towers with these trucks that sit in them. So where these trucks sit in and there's a tower on top, you can sit on top of there. Now, yes, you can try and like launch them out or throw a nade in and stuff, but if they're smart enough to be able to avoid that, basically they're going to sit up there, and the only way you've got, you know, the only chance you've got of getting up there is by going up the ladder. Now, some will say, you know, then wait for the zone to come in and all that stuff, but again, that plays into the game mode, just playing slow. And I think that's just why people don't enjoy solos. It's just extremely campy, due to the meta. It's extremely campy due to some buildings that just don't have the best access points and they're just super easy to like lock down on your own. And on top of that, I feel like people have played squads enough to realise the difference between playing squads and solos. And when I say squads as well, I am including trios by that point. But basically, playing with other people that you either know or even don't know, it's just a lot more better than playing solos. Now, I'll talk about the squads experience as well when playing randoms and not with randoms, because that is also one thing. I think people have also been going around like trying to get people to play with, because playing with randoms can be just as stressful as playing solo on your own, because I'll be honest, the randoms I've played with quite a lot of times haven't been that great. You know, I'd say for every 10 games I get a decent team. That's about how it works in squads. And that kind of plays in the hands as well as to why, you know, I'd say the game, like, I don't know how to put it, but basically squads and trios is just a vastly better mode than solos, and a lot of people I think have flocked to that. People will constantly play squads and trios, and one thing I found is I showed the video of me trying to find a solo game. I don't think a lot of people play solos, on top of obviously the skill-based matchmaking kind of ruining my chances of finding game quickly enough. But basically, that's just my thoughts and opinions on the solo mode. Now, obviously you've seen this gameplay in the background, and as you can see, this gameplay has been 16 minutes long so far. 16 minutes, and I have 5 kills. Now I can tell you, I've had many squad games where I've had at least 10 kills plus at this point, because this game mode is just too slow. As you can see, I'm going around places as well. It's not like I've just sat somewhere for ages and ages. I've been trying to roam around, trying to find people, and it's just so hard because everyone's playing to be that last person. And of course, you know, with my skill-based matchmaking, elo, ranking, whatever, it makes my games a lot more sweatier because everyone is still trying to play for that win. And a lot of like high-skill players are going to play just for the win, you know, make it as make it as much of a guarantee for them to win the game. And the best way to do that is to camp, you know, sit a building, set up, and like I've explained earlier, just with your ghost, with your heartbeat sensor, everyone's got their loadouts, everyone's got silence guns, and it just makes solo an overall unpleasant experience. So yeah, that's my kind of thoughts and opinions here of the solo experience here in Warzone, and kind of a personal opinion as well, that I just don't enjoy solos in this game. Now, you can let me know in the comment section down below if you personally enjoy solos here in Warzone, but there's my overall opinion as well as reasoning and my thoughts behind why solo is probably not that enjoyable in this game for everyone, and why everyone flocks to squads and trios. But yeah, that's kind of going to be my like commentary there. I'm going to leave it at that. The rest of the gameplay is going to play out here. It's about another 7 minutes, but you're going to see I get a few more kills, obviously. I've still got 6 more kills to get, and then obviously the big dub at the end. And I'll be honest, I did get quite lucky, because I did somehow manage to get a noob at the end who didn't realise that I still had self-revive. So I self-revived, and I won the game. Obviously I kind of spoiled it here, but just keep watching. You'll see at the end, or skip to the end if you want to, it's up to you. But again, you're going to miss out on the next 5 kills, as well as obviously the end kills for the win. And yeah, so that's basically my commentary for today. Kind of a opinionated commentary about solos in general, and why I just find solos myself not enjoyable here in Warzone, and why I think other people are not enjoying solos, and giving a reason as to why solos are not enjoyable here in Warzone. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Obviously the gameplay is still going to continue in the background, and yeah, I'm going to leave you with the gameplay, and that'll be the end of my commentary. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe notifications on, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone. Gas is moving. Gas is inbound. Moving in. New safe zone located. Last chance, soldier. Kill or be killed.